Okay, so as the title of this video, I have broken down on my first drive in the S13. Just trying to get a 10-minute, or trying to make a 10-minute journey home, and she died when I tried to give her a bit of throttle. Started her up again, tried to give her a bit more, or just tried to get her to move, died, then wouldn't start, completely died. We're hoping it's fuel. Absolutely no guarantees it is fuel because the fuel gauge doesn't work. The hope is, because we only put 10 litres in, 10 litres or so in, basically when we first put fuel in the car, the only fuel the car's had in it since the tank got removed and drained and cleaned. So fingers crossed it's just kind of drank through that fuel quite quickly. It's done a lot of just sitting around idling, a lot of like running up to temp. The fuel did also get pushed through and just emptied out. I probably I must have emptied about a litre, to be fair. So she, maybe had 9 litres total. So fingers crossed. Otherwise, I got like 4 miles to push her.
And we are good. Time to get out of here. In case Jamie isn't going to explain it, I thought I would. Essentially, we broke down on the way home. We may have forgotten to add an essential thing, which would be fuel. To which Jake and I ran back to get a jerry can and some fuel. Upon returning, there were about, what was it, about 4 travellers? Travellers is the right word to say here. Travellers surrounded the car. Was not an ideal situation. Got her filled up and she started to ride up. Happy days. Went to go leave and the steering column, the UJ and the steering column fell out. So, great time. Had to get that back fixed. Again, at this place. By this time we'd amassed a bit of a crowd, so that was ideal. However, now we are back on the road driving. It is currently 10 o'clock and Jamie does not have any lights. He has 1 headlight, no rear lights, so I am on tail, being his brake lights.
Okay, and here she is. Wow. It drove home. I mean, it was like a 10-15 minute journey. It was the worst drive I've ever had. Yeah, the car, obviously, it's the first time it's been driven in, I've owned it for 4.5 years. I drove it when I bought it, maybe 50 to 100 yards from a family member's driveway down into my garage. And that was sketchy enough because I only had the handbrake. So I literally went 10 miles an hour just so I could get it down there. Yeah, first time I've actually ever driven this car, and I love the way it drives. It was very, very nerve-wracking, obviously, because first time the engine's been running 4 and a bit years since Jake and I rebuilt it. Fresh wiring, standalone ECU, all the suspension has been off and bolted back on. Brakes have all been redone, so whole car was a massive unknown, so very, very stressful experience. My garage is disgusting. The reason it looks so bad is because I had that grey MX-5 in here. I started doing the welding on it, got like an hour into that and then had other things to do. That car then got pulled out of here so we could drive it to Shedfest last week. But what that's meant is this place is an absolute shithole. So I'm going to quickly spend half an hour or so and get it tidied. Then we can make the list of all the jobs we need to do on the S13, and then we can start tackling them, because there's quite a list. Lots of just little bits and pieces that hopefully won't take too long, but probably will. Okay, so tidying the workshop only took pretty much most of today. Yeah, as you saw, it was disgusting in here. It's still not brilliant, but at least the end of the floor is more visible. Still need to move some of this stuff into the shed, but at least it's kind of a usable work area again. The bench is still disgusting, but yeah, that's still terrible, but I can kind of sort through that shortly. It's the next day. I've just got back from work. I've got an hour at home before I have to go and head out to the gym. I thought, let's make the most of it. I've only got a couple of days before the car needs to be MOT'd and needs to pass. So let's just get on with it. Before we start any jobs, let's go through this list and tick off everything that's done. Okay, so that is the list that I can think of at the moment. Jake and one of the guys from CCS, Classic Car Solutions, who had a look over the car, also wrote me a list of all the things they found wrong with it. I'll go through that after. So, passenger side headlight currently isn't working, it's only getting 2 volts to it. Rear side lights, resistor for the indicators, because that's now got an LED in, so it's flashing too quick. Front number plate just needs to be fitted. Wiper module, I have it, haven't tested it yet. I should test it, and then once I've tested it, I need to extend the wires so I can put the module inside the cabin rather than in the engine bay where it looks horrible, and then fit a horn. So I asked in the group for help with as to why my rear side lights and cluster aren't lighting up, and someone said to check the contacts inside the actual switch itself, because I guess after 30 years they get corroded and then it doesn't work properly. So I'm going to quickly get that removed, clean it up, and then fingers crossed it's as simple as that, but it never normally is it? Cool, so I figured something out. Started taking the switch apart so I could clean it, but it's quite difficult without damaging it, and I basically wanted to prove that it is a switch and not the wiring before I waste however long cleaning it, and I think I figured something out. Okay, so what I've done is basically just bypassed the switch and joined the wires together. Obviously be careful doing that and make sure you kind of know what's going to happen, otherwise you can blow fuses. I know that my red and my blue are for my light and my cluster and that sort of stuff, so that was worth a try. And I don't know if you're going to be able to tell in video, but my dash is just turned on my cluster. It's got lights on it, which it didn't before, so that is definitely something. Don't think that has turned those. It hasn't turned. This is one of my like tail lights or side lights. Hasn't come on. Oh, or has it? Or is that like the brake light switch? Okay, so we've got lights on. Let's quickly see what happens if I unplug this. Do we now? So what I need to do then is, what do I need to do? I need to set my phone up, I need to plug this back in, and I need to see if my brake lights also work. So let's do that. Okay, I was definitely hoping that I wouldn't be in this situation again, but here we are. It is the night before my MOT is booked. It's currently 11 o'clock. Don't think I'm gonna get any sleep tonight, which is whatever, don't care. So I took the switch apart, cleaned it. Unfortunately, has not fixed everything like I was hoping. So what I've had to do is run some extra wires basically to jump power directly to the pin on the connector that needs it. I've put a switch in now, so if I put my headlights on, pop-ups come up as they should, but no dash lights, no tail lights. If I flick this switch, I get instrument cluster lights and I get all my tail lights working. So not ideal, but temporarily until my new switch comes, that will do the job. Okay, so I need to remember to turn that off, and that, and then that. Otherwise I'm just going to run out of battery somewhere. The wiper module is plugged in, currently resting against the wheel down there, which is why I need to extend those wires. But it's working, which is excellent, because as I've probably mentioned once or twice, I took the car apart over 4 years ago, so I don't remember what was wrong with it then, and it's definitely developed a few issues in the time of being sat doing nothing. So wiper switch, and then you can hear and actually see we have wipers, so I can turn them all the way off, quickly extend that loom, and then hide it somewhere, and then put the wiper arms back on, and that's another thing ticked off the list. Quickly remove some of that, just snip the connector off, and I've got a box of all the wires I removed from the rest of the kind of engine lighting relay harnesses. I would like to use new wires, but don't have access right now, so we're just going to dig through here, find some colours that are matching or nearly matching. Obviously it needs to be the same gauge of wire, and then I'm just going to extend it by maybe 12 inches, 16 inches, and then I can run it into the cabin and hide that module out the way, just to keep the bay looking as clean as possible. Okay, so that's taken far too long, but I've extended that wire by whatever I said, 12 to 16 inches, so it can go into the cabin. Okay, so that list has gone down massively. So obviously I stayed up until far too late last night, then had to get up this morning. Luckily I was working from home, so not too bad, but still actually had work to do. So only job I need to do urgently is make sure the brake lines are cable tied out the way. This side is, I don't think the other side is, that's fine, I can do that. I need to very quickly get the headlight back in that light. Fingers crossed it works. If not, I'm gonna have to very quickly connect into the other side headlight, which is not gonna be good. It won't last very long, but for a very, very short-term thing, to get it through MOT, we're gonna send it. Yeah, I think apart from that, I just want to give the car a quick check over. I need to adjust the harnesses because they're a bit long. Basically where I fitted them, I just completely guessed. And I need to quickly adjust the handbrake because it works, but you've got to put it all the way up, which is not ideal. Harvey's coming over in the Del Sol, so that'd be really cool. Yeah, see you guys soon. As always, we are running late. Harvey has just got here in the Del Sol. It's looking all right. Apparently it drives a lot better than it looks. So that's something. He got some different wheels and tyres because the other ones were not only awful, but tyres were rotten. So they're not pretty, but they're definitely a lot better. Yesterday was the big day. What I've got here is the MOT test certificate. And I can say she passed. 2 minors, one because the mirror's loose, one because my number plate was not attached very well, which is fine. I got number plate tape so I can fix that. The only thing I do need to fix before we actually head off to drive to the venue is my downpipe is leaking slightly. So I've got 2 hours I should probably spend doing other wedding prepping stuff to get that done. Yeah, not gonna be the most fun, but let's just get on with it as quickly as possible. Okay, so there is the downpipe. Here is my makeshift stud, and that is the hole that's been causing me the trouble. So I can thread this in as much as it will go. There we go, and then hopefully I can get this guy back on. Yeah. Oh yeah, Look at that, like a glove. Probably gonna need to get the nut on there now because there's not a ton of room, but that's okay. Downpipe is properly bolted up now. Not only was it missing that bolt, some of them weren't tight, and obviously you need it to be tight for that gasket to seal. Quickly put all these center caps in. Please ignore the fact that they look like they're facing the wrong way. I've lined them up with the actual like Blitz Racing on the wheel itself, so at least they match that, which is better than nothing. And then they will be the same. Engine bay looks exactly the same as it did a second ago. Only thing I quickly did is removed my recirc valve, which isn't recircling into anything, and put on a blanking plate instead.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new.
The car made it to an MOT about a week or so after I brought it back from ASD Tuning, or Jake at ASD Tuning. It then made it to my wedding, which is about an hour and a half drive from me. Made it there and back. We had a small breakdown on the way there, but that's, once again, something I did. The alternator bracket that we made very quickly was put on with just like a normal nut, so from all the vibration it came loose. I heard the belt starting to squeak a little bit, no problem. Put a new nylock on there, tightened it all up, flawless. I've then done a couple of like smaller journeys in the car since then. Beginning of this week I drove the car an hour and a bit into work and then back again. Did it absolutely perfectly. And then Friday, so 2 days ago, I took it to Goodwood Festival of Speed. With all the traffic, it was a 3-hour journey each way, and the car made it. I mean, it definitely needs a wash because it was so dusty there, and then obviously motorway dirt, but it made it. I was melting because the car has no aircon or even like blower motor at the moment. The car didn't seem to care. It made it absolutely perfectly. I don't really know how else to kind of finish this video apart from let's take it for a very quick drive and try and get some like pretty shots of the car now that it's done enough that I can drive it. I'm going to end the video here and then we can just enjoy a little bit of driving and some scenic shots of the car. But before we get onto that, I want to give a massive thank you to ASD Tuning, specifically Jake at ASD Tuning, because without him this car wouldn't be done. Like, it absolutely would not be done. The amount of hard work and effort he put into this car is just unmatched. So if anyone out there wants to buy any kind of wiring harness bits, buy a standalone ECU, max ECU, or even contact him to have him work on your car, please do, and please let him know that I've sent you, because you're not going to get that sort of care and attention from many other shops in the UK, especially not someone who actually puts so much time and effort and knowledge into everything they do. So big thank you to him, really appreciate everything he did. But yeah, let's get the car out of the garage and take it for a quick drive.